Hello and welcome to Slice of Heaven episode 8. I am Loopie, this is Heartwood. Thank you so much for returning and joining us all the way at number 8.
Thank you,
We're almost on
everyone.
the double digits, Heartwood. Good lord.
Whoa.
We're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. We ain't over. I know somebody was asking on Heartwood's Discord server.
You will suffer with us.
Yeah,
We will drag you through the mud. Through episode after episode.
I'm sorry that it's bi-weekly, but these do take a little bit of a chunk out of the week, and we want to get shorts out as well. But thank you so much for sticking with us, especially in the premiere of the
That was
episode, and the comments have been lovely too. Today we're joined by a very special guest, aren't we, Heartwood?
We are?
Yes, the special guest is you. Our most special guest. You are joining us today for this wonderful episode.
The
and can I just say, you look amazing. Did you lose weight? Have you done your hair up? Have you got like new clothes or something? Because girl, you are slaying. Amazing job. We're so proud of you.
We really are. You're
so
all wonderful
it's
and hot and beautiful. Anyway,
Heartwood wants to do things with you, like stream.
Whoa! Like stream, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and do the Golden Marshmallow Club and stuff.
Golden
like that,
Marshmallow
right?
Club and movie night and Halloween party and 10K celebration and
It never ends.
and maybe a little coffee and tea and maybe a walk through the park on a cool autumn evening.
Yeah,
Sounds
financially
lovely, right?
supported, of course.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Shush. No. Right. So,
I actually thought today would be a good time to talk about mental health. I don't know if that's a bit too serious or a bit too deep, but after the weekend we both had, and the fact that we're just kind of reconnecting us two again, I think it'd be a nice place to kind of settle on.
Absolutely.
So,
I mean, as an advocate for... I'm actually fabulous. There's a lot going on in life and a lot of challenges and struggles and difficulties, but I think one of the things about mental health is that when times are darkest, you have to reach for the light within you and find things to be grateful for. And I talk about this a lot, where we talk about gratitude journaling, meditation, mindfulness, being mindful of the things that bring you comfort and joy in your life, and just hone in on those and focus on those. And it's not about like, oh, I am finally going to be happy, I'm finally going to be set, and like my problems will all go away, because that's just sadly not the case. But finding tranquility instead of happiness, tranquility and stability, and will lead to happier times and better, you'll be able to handle your problems better. So for me right now, I'm focusing on my personal health, I'm focusing on my relationships, I'm focusing on my friendships, I'm focusing on streaming, and I'm focusing on the holidays, and just things that are helping me overcome some very serious difficulties in my life at the moment. But when I look back and everything, I'm doing good, I'm happy, and that happiness is starting to really shine through and be myself. So I'm doing good, which is crazy, because normally the kind of stuff I'm dealing with in the past would be tearing me down and making me really depressed and sad and just shut down. And it's important to not ignore your problems, to address them correctly and strategize, plan, and tackle them, but to not let them, as I've told you in the past, not let the things and the trials and the challenges you face each and every day bog you down to the point where you can't enjoy your life. When challenges hit you, even if they're life-shattering, you still want to find happiness, moments of tranquility, moments of joy, little victories here and there, and just small comforts.
Exactly. And I think it's some people look at the extremes of like, you're either extremely depressed or you're extremely happy. But there's also a completely valid middle ground, and happiness can just be being content. Like making that cup of tea or coffee in the morning that's really nice, having that like little snack from a place you've never been to, going for a walk and the sun is just really nice on your back, or the wind is blowing nicely. There's just so many little things that you can kind of latch on to. And even though you might think it doesn't matter in the grand scheme, like all that matters is this bill I have to pay, or, you know, my car's breaking down and this is like ruining my day. Yes, those can be a major setback, but like really try to focus on the whole picture, every aspect, because there is so much worth in those little moments, even if it's just like a fun time you have with a friend or a game that you're enjoying. Let yourself enjoy it. Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's, you know, literally all there is to it. And it's easier said than done. It's definitely easier said than done. When human nature is to latch onto the negativity, because we have this incredibly entitled feeling of, I should be happy, I should be perfectly set all the time, I should never struggle or suffer. And that's understandable, because nobody wants to suffer, and suffering sucks and it's awful. But with reality being the way it is, it's just not inevitable. It's unfortunate, but it's not going to happen. Where we tend to trip up in the world is that we focus on reaching outwards for happiness. Oh, if only I could get into this college, I'll be happy. Only if I could pay off this bill, I'll be happy. Only if I could find a love or a partner, will I be happy. Only if I can score that big contract, I'll be happy. If I can lose weight, I'll be happy. You know, so on and so forth. There's always something to reach for. There's always some goal. There's always some desire. But that is the literal definition of suffering, is to always have unending wants and desires that may or may not be fulfilled in the way we want them to be. Having that sensation of needing constantly looking outward for your own happiness, when you have the control, you have the authority, you have the agency over your mind, your heart, your spirit, and your body, you say, no, enough is enough. I love myself. I appreciate myself. That happiness is always here. It is always in your mind. It's always in your heart. Instead of looking outward for stuff, things, friendships, relationships, smooth sailing, which again are all nice and whatnot, but instead of looking for those to complete yourself, because it's already there. That love and that kindness, that tranquility, that stability, those are there. We make do with what we do. Like, nobody wants to suffer, nobody wants to deal with these things, but at the end of the day, you can always sit back and say, well, I'm just gonna brew up a cup of tea, take a hot shower, I'm gonna shift my perspective, shift my priorities. You know, I'm not going to ignore my problems. I'm going to tackle them. I'll maybe have to pace, whatever you have to do in life to address and handle your situation is great. But that never-ending desire, that never-ending seeking completion from other people or other financial needs, or so on and so forth, you can get my drift. That's what causes heartache. That's what causes pain. That is the root of depression, is not realizing what you already have, not realizing what's in your heart and soul, and just looking inward for once.
To kind of add on to that, I think there is a journey that you go on in life, and whether it's, like you say, to lose weight or get more money or reach a certain level in something or move out, whatever it is, you're always going to have goals. And if you think it is the be-all and end-all to reach that goal, it might be really important to you. But when you get there, are you really going to feel as like super hyper successful, like you finished everything? No, you're going to have another goal. Or you're going to think, oh, it's not that great up here. You know, it's not like everything I ever dreamed to achieve this. Like, it's good to achieve these things, but also try and find happiness with where you're at. Yes, there's like the future that you're reaching towards and striving towards, but what do you have now? And enjoy the journey of trying to get there rather than the destination, because
precisely,
it's hard to achieve some of these things, and more importantly, it's hard to achieve happiness. So if you can find that along the way through these little things that you do have, you know, a roof over your head, a nice warm meal. You know, when I met Heartwood, that's the like core principles of what they were trying to pass on to me. You know, I know you've got these background teachings of meditation, mindfulness, you know, Buddhist kind of techniques, and you've tried to share those with me in little bits of advice and stuff, and I've really appreciated that. And I'm glad that you have streaming as a platform to help others as well now.
that makes me so happy. And yeah, I'm never gonna forget like me sitting in the little fort world. It's like a little cardboard box world, and being like, Loopie, did you do your meditations? I used to bully this one.
Me to the fort. Whenever something serious is going on, we always end up in the fort.
In the fort. It's our little fun, like, cardboard box world from when we first hung out all the time. But yeah, that's the thing. It's finding precious moments with your friends, your family. It's finding comfort in the food, in the beds, and the warm showers. It's finding solace in games and media and things that just bring you joy, and also forgiving yourself for the things you really need. Sleeping in on occasion is not something you should beat yourself up over. Taking a day off from work or school should not be something you beat yourself over. We live in a society of this constant pressure to perform and to acquiesce and to conform.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you chip away at your self-respect, your goals, your heart, and then you just feel like this lifeless husk. And it's important not to forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for what? Rest, relaxation. Your body needs it. Your soul needs it. You need to step away from time to time and just be at one with yourself, or to share that same self with somebody in your life that you feel important and feel loved with, whether that's friends or otherwise. And it's learning to be grateful for what you have that leads to ultimate happiness, because we always, there's always a bigger house, there's always a bigger car, there's always a bigger salary, there's always a more cool friend group to hang out with, or whatever. There's always something, right? You said it yourself, there's always something. But the way to achieve goals is to put it out to the universe and say, hey, I would like to, instead of living in an apartment, I want to buy a house one day. I want to have a nice car. I want to own, I want to get my degree. I want to open my own business. I want to do something that makes me happy for a career. I want to get through these challenges and feel comfortable again. And when you set your sights on these goals, go in with low expectation, or I should say go in with the expectations of just doing what you need to do to get there. I remember many years ago, I said, I really want to own my own home. And now I do. And it's not the house I dreamed of when I was younger, but it's comfy and it's cozy, and it's protective, and it's warm, and it's mine. It's my little home. I always said I want my own car one day, that I picked. And I have it. Is it a luxury vehicle? No. But is it nice? Is it comfortable? Yes. I have a lovely car. I have a lovely house. I said I want to get my college degree, and I did it. I wanted to be a business owner. I did it. Are they the ways I pictured it? No. But when you go back through life and you continuously make goals for yourself and focus on achieving those goals, even if it's baby steps, even if it takes years and years and years, you will be surprised at what you've achieved in your lifetime. And I think focusing on that achievements and the things you can be grateful for, the things you can be proud of yourself for, and recognize the folks who've helped you along the way can really help keep keep that perspective of tranquility and happiness that we all kind of strive for. But again, we just keep looking outwards rather than recognizing what we have. And not everybody's built to be a billionaire. Not everybody's built to run a business. Not everybody's built to have 1 million friends. Not everybody's built. Some of us are just built different, and our lot in life is to find what makes, honestly, the most valuable thing you can do is just find contentment and happiness with what you are doing in your life and where you are. Always, change is inevitable. Change is absolutely inevitable. You're not going to get away from change, but you have the authority to react how you want to react to things, and
that's what you do have control of. It's like recognizing what you have control of and what you don't, and yourself and your feelings, and accepting them, but not fighting too hard to change them, and accepting that life can be chaos. There can be ups and downs, but if you don't let yourself get swept away with it, you can handle it. You can do it.
Absolutely. And it's easier said than done. All this is easier said than done. Sometimes we have moments of weakness and depression and frustration. We have our moments where fear takes over, and fear of loss, fear of change, fear of
we're only human.
Fear itself. We're only human, and we're going to experience that. I may be an angel, but even I have anxiety. I have fears. I have disappointments. I have anger, and it's about recognizing those thoughts and feelings, and disrupting that thought pattern, and go, you know what, things are still good. I will and if they are not great, I will make them better. I will grieve, or I will plan. I will strategize. I will overcome. I will persevere. There will always be better days, and you got to sprinkle those better days in as much as you can. And when it rains, it pours. But find things that bring you solace, comfort, and tranquility in the meantime. And whether that's a cup of tea, a hot bath, playing Apex or Fortnite with your friends, or snuggling up to folks in VR, whatever brings you comfort. And sometimes it's as simple as just chilling on the couch with your kitty cat and a glass of soda and a slice of pizza. There's always something that will bring you joy. Find those things and shift that perspective. It helps.
I wanted to talk about kind of our background and experiences with mental health, because I have always been anxious. I've always been antisocial, and as a kid it was worse. And I've gotten better over the years. Like, I would have never imagined me doing this kind of thing, like broadcasting myself to the internet and speaking to so many people in VR chat, because I really haven't liked myself. I haven't liked my body. I haven't liked my voice. I haven't liked socializing with others and getting into all these experiences with other people. I'm very much me. I like being on my own. I'm an introvert. I don't want to go out there and show myself to the world, and that's been a struggle. And
tell me about it.
It's really just being like dragged up that mountain, and all the rocks are hitting you, and it's like, is this progress? Because I'm having to go through hell, and I don't know if I'm improving or not. And I still don't feel like I'm there, but it's that kind of mentality of, you don't have to be there, but like the journey that you're going on through just existing and trying to love yourself, you will start to more and more. Like even today, for example, like I bought new glasses, like the kind of ones you got, the round dorky ones, the nerd glasses.
Dorky.
Well, no, like nerdy in like an affectionate way.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
you.
Like it's like you can just put a big warm sweater on, and you can be like cozy core and have those glasses. I think it's really cute. Yeah. It's like this type of thing you get insulted for in like the 90s, but now it's cool.
Funny how it always comes around again. It always comes around again.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, whether in it. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say that, like, even today, I had those glasses. I was feeling good. I was like, yeah, I'm growing my hair out, and I got these glasses. I got these new clothes and stuff. And I took a photo of myself, and I'm like, why do I look like that? Why do I smile so awkwardly? Why haven't I lost enough weight yet? And it's just like, I would have posted them, but I just didn't like any of them. And that can be like a constant thing sometimes, of just like, maybe it's my own head convincing myself that I don't look good, or maybe I do need to work more. But
you look
something
really
I've
good,
realized that is like a vending machine, and you're trying to put a crumpled note in. It will not accept it. Maybe if you try enough.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, I was the kid who'd sit there and like lick the corners and try to get the bill in, and it was like, no, I want my freaking soda to pop. I'm not going to. I'm going to struggle until that ripped up tape bill. That's the hardest part, is we can't always see the growth or the success that we're having. We see ourselves day in and day out, and change is so incredibly hard to.
You were saying that I Wolf like
see.
left that little comment of,
Yeah, I was
you've
literally
lost weight?
Yes,
and that just like raised you. Yeah,
ooh, I just shot up like
I'm the exact
endorphins.
same.
My brain.
Yeah.
I have been losing weight, and I don't see it. Like I don't see it at all. I'm like I feel like I'm the fattest I've ever been.
You've been
blah,
dieting
blah, blah, blah.
though, so
And
it makes sense.
I've been dieting, and it makes sense, but it's just like you still, no matter how much effort you put in, maximum effort with what feels like minimum payout, especially when it comes to weight and dieting and muscle building and growth and body stuff, right? But as Loopie, beat me to the punch, but I was literally going to say exactly what happened. I was just walking through my kitchen, and I was having a little conversation with my roommate, Iwolf, and suddenly I was like, have you been losing weight? You look like you lost a lot of weight. And I was just like, what? I mean, yes, but
Yeah.
what? Like I can't see it, but other people can. People who haven't maybe seen you eat every day, or who don't look in the mirror and are self-criticizing. We always are our own worst critics, whether it's our voice, the way our skin looks, how our eyes are, what our hair looks like, the facial hair, the body hair. This boob is bigger or smaller than the other boob. Like I don't have the right hips. My belly button's blah. Whatever. There's a million things you can dislike about yourself. But what you don't see is the changes. You're
stuck with it.
You are and you aren't. It's like it's yours. It's your unique body. It's your unique personality.
Yeah, I guess more with like mind and like the view that you have of yourself. It's just like you're gonna be stuck with these voices and the perception you have of yourself unless you actively take steps to change that and try to convince yourself until you believe it.
That's right. And again, it's so hard to like really see the changes, but if you put in the work, if you put in the effort, the payout is so worth it. Like I've started HRT. This is a literal, on a fundamental biological change of my core self, like from mind to body, and these changes will take years. But I've already seen small little changes, and there's times where I'm like, am I just kidding myself? This is working. Wow. But it's like I'm paying for my sins. I was not good with my weight, but now I'm taking charge. I'm like, I'm going to do this, and it'll take a long time to get to where I'm comfortable with my weight, that I can fit into a dress like this. And there's always gonna be some sort of dysphoria. There's always gonna be I could look better. I could fit in that suit or that dress better. I can, I want to look good for my best friend's wedding, or I want to have a beach bod for the summer, or oh no, I gained some weight because I had one too many pumpkin pies. Life is filled with challenges, but looking at our bodies, this is our temple. This is our temple, and you don't have to be perfect. But as long as you attune yourself to your body, and you have a mind-body connection, because we are more than just our bodies. Our bodies are a vehicle. Yeah. They're our vehicle, but they're a vehicle. Like your heart and your soul are completely different than your body. And that's why we have such a disconnect so often. Being in VR really helps because you can choose your body and you can edit your body because it's a virtual self.
It's been real life, like affirming thing to be able to try out a girl avatar and wear girly clothing and stuff, and kind of get that free trial.
Preach!
Free trial as a little
get that free trial.
Yeah. So I've been trans on here already. It's just the real life is being delayed.
Yeah, but that's the whole point. It's about learning more about yourself and finding what you need to be happy. And you don't have to obviously be trans or change your gender, but simply finding things that make you happy with yourself. And that starts with loving what you already have. There's a lot of really wonderful techniques you can do if you feel disgust or discomfort with your body. Like instead of you're going to automatically look in the mirror and go, I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. Well, sure, that's what your brain's automatically wired to do. You're just gonna be self-criticizing. Try this. Sit there and look at your body in the mirror every now and then. Doesn't have to be often, and just think about all the wonderful things you like. Like, I like my eyes, nice skin, I look a little younger than I am, or
that helps.
My hair looks really good. Doing that on a more consistent basis.
Yeah, that really helps.
Trust me, I hyperfocus on my hair, and the little things we do like about ourselves, if we focus on them, and this is again, cycles right back to gratitude journaling. Learning to love ourselves, mind, body, and spirit will help you find joy and comfort. Like, will you be that supermodel? Maybe, maybe not. Your body has to change. Their work has to be done. Sacrifices would be needed to be made, and some of them may not be healthy or right for you. And you may not be able to get what you want. And that's unfortunate, but there's still ways to make yourself truly happy with yourself. Some of the most happy people are people who just let go.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no,
but
you're fine.
That whole body image thing, like smiling at yourself in the mirror as often as you can. I used to hate mirrors. I still hate mirrors. I catch a reflection of myself in a shop window. I'm like, oh, that's me. Oh, but if something I've been doing since my teenage years is forcing myself to smile when I go into like the bathroom or see myself on like a wardrobe mirror. And yes, it's forced. Yes, it's fake. But if you can see yourself smiling, it will like generate serotonin, like, and make it comfier each time. Because if you see yourself and you're looking miserable every time in the mirror, it's gonna compound. So smiling really helps. Why did Windows just make that noise? Microsoft To Do. Plan out some fun questions for Slice of Heaven. What do you think I'm doing? I'm recording the episode, Microsoft.
Thank you, Microsoft. You buggers. Wow.
But
yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah. And it's going to be individual to everyone, right? And trial by fire, you will figure out ways and things that help. But I think the biggest takeaway for me, growing up with autism, with anxiety, with being antisocial, get out of your own head. Get out of it. Because you can live here. You can think about what could be. You can think about what will be. You can go over situations a million times. You can beat yourself up a zillion times. But until you not shift it, but until you bring that to friends, to family, and you actually get it out of your head, and you listen to what they have to say, because that's the most important lesson I've learned in life. There's a world beyond my own head, right? Like, I can convince myself of the worst things about myself, and like how much I hate my voice and so on. But enough people tell you that your voice is nice and you have nothing to worry about, you will start to believe it. Or if you think, for example, there's a doomsday event going on in your head, like you've screwed up so badly with this friendship or this social situation or whatever's going on, it's like the end of the world in your head. You speak to other people, you get it out there and vent it out, you'll feel better just for having vented it. And then allow different perspectives to come in, allow people to help you, to be there for you. Even knowing that, I still think of myself as a burden, and I have to actively fight against that thought, thinking that like, I'm just gonna make them feel worse, I'm just burdening them, I don't deserve to have these friends helping me. You have to really fight against those negative thoughts. And then you'll realize it's not the end of the world. It's not as bad as you think it is. You are not as bad as you think you are. And it will help you feel a lot better. Maybe help somebody else. Completely distract yourself from your problems. Shift the focus. Ask one of your friends how their day is going. Go and pet a cat. Go and clean.
Pet a cat.
You have to just get out of it, because it will just consume you and you'll just be depression mode.
Precisely. Of self-care in all forms, like preferably constructive, productive self-care, like grooming yourself and going for a walk rather than eating a pint of ice cream. But every now and then that pint of ice cream is self-care. But Loopie's completely right. Shifting your perspective, helping somebody else, not taking on other people's problems. It's an easy thing to do, especially if you're empathic like myself, where just like you just want to take on the burdens of the world and just take care of every single person you run across. But just finding your own happiness and contentment will really just give you the power to get through the hardships and the bad brain moments. Like, it's just going to keep coming up, and you just have to remember that My brain's just that electric meatball's just going off on its own, doing its weird thing. I'm gonna remember this, and then I go, well, you know what? My friends say I got a nice voice. You know, people keep coming back for the content that I make. You know, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. But I'm making active changes to do something about that. And in the meantime, I have learned to appreciate aspects of my personality, my voice, I let the imposter syndrome go. I let the self-doubt go. And it's so hard not to put yourself down, but try to avoid that too. Because all you're doing is hurting yourself and hurting those you love and the people around you by hating yourself. And that's easy, again, to say, don't do this, but with a little bit of practice, a little bit of mindfulness, a little bit of self-care, a little bit of forgiveness, a little bit of gratitude, these little tiny things you do each and every day can create such a powerful mental resilience, because you are fighting against a tide of negative self-talk and negative hate. Like, just you can't beat the ocean. It's gonna be there, but you can ride the waves. You can ride the waves. You can choose whether to wade out into the surf when the waves are nice and calm, or you can, if you go out on the rocky waves, you can find a boat or a canoe or a paddle or a surfboard and ride back to the shore. You just have to find the vehicles that bring you back, whether that's listening to music or smiling in a mirror, or like believing your friends when they say, I really like, the way you sound or talk, or I love your personality.
But when you're talking about, productive self-help, like going for a walk or cleaning or, stuff that will ultimately help, like your living situation, that can be really hard to do sometimes. And me and Hos joke about it. We're just like, we gotta go on a stupid walk for stupid mental health, and just huffing and puffing. You're like, I do not want to go on a walk. I don't want to do cleaning. But after it, I'm like, yeah, I guess I feel a little better. So, and you just have to push to it.
Yeah, and even when you feel like you can't, and sometimes you just can't, you forgive yourself and say, you know what, that's okay. I needed to rest.
Yeah.
I will find another source of productivity and appreciate what you do accomplish. So what if you can only fill the dishwasher but you couldn't run it? Or you empty the dishwasher but you couldn't fill it. So what if you kind of decluttered your vanity, but you still didn't scrub your bathtub, right? It is little bits of success can help, and pushing yourself outside of that zone of shutdown mode can really help. And if you can't be bothered to be productive, then be bothered to at least self-love, and that means go have a beautiful shower, do up your hair, put on some nice clothes, go for a lovely drive. It doesn't have to be anything grandiose or crazy, just a little bit of self-love.
You are in
light
control.
some candles, and you are in control.
It might not feel like
and
it,
you can,
but you really are, at least of how you praise yourself, how you think about yourself.
Exactly.
When I was going through therapy, there was this thing that they brought up. They're like, the way that you speak about yourself is really harsh. You keep saying things like, I can't, or I shouldn't, or you keep belittling yourself in every social situation that you're talking about. You're saying that it's your fault, or you could have acted differently. I want you to change your language. Instead of saying I can't or I shouldn't, rephrase it into I might have trouble with, or something like this. And that small little something like that. Therapy is helpful. Okay, we're not gonna say that these little lifestyle meditation tips are the fix and be all and end all of everyone's issues. And you might need therapy, you might need medication. That's okay. But these are just general kind of
I do both.
Yeah.
I do both. I have no shame. I think it's valid.
Determining your own self-worth and realizing that you can, because it's a big scary world and you're kind of left to your own devices, left to your own head, for better or worse sometimes. And
really,
you have to be your own boss in terms of how you talk to yourself.
You need to find comfort and joy within yourself rather than reaching out always for other people to fulfill those goals and desires. Loving yourself is important.
That's the first point you made,
it's all cyclical. It all runs around in the same circle. You just have to build upon these core aspects, like whether you may not be a meditative type, but maybe you like listening to music. You can find artists that can put you into a trance-like state of just joy, and again, it's not about finding happiness per se. It's about finding stability and tranquility, bringing yourself back into a state of blissful self-awareness. And you may not be happy with what you have or how things are going, but you can at least give yourself credit and a pat on the back for going through the suffering you're dealing with. And little by little, time after time, you will continue to get stronger and better. And when you find that you are in control of yourself, and you can shift your perspective, and you can reach into your heart when you need to and pull out the joy and the love, and if you can step away from terrible situations and come back with a clear head, whatever the circumstances, you will find that you are growing. And that growth, no matter how old you are, how young you are, no matter what stage of life you're in, no matter the troubles you're dealing with, will be truly powerful tools. And at the end of the day, we tend to only focus on physical problems. We need to focus on our mental health, and that does mean sometimes medication. It does mean sometimes therapy. Those things should not be ostracized or shunned. Those are really important parts of our lives. We need to be able to communicate our feelings and emotions, and have somebody who isn't just a family member who says, walk it off, you're just being ridiculous, you should just be happy. Our friends and our families are not capable or trained to understand the human mind. They don't know how to properly give you advice. Like even me, who I like to talk about mental health and guidance, when I have a friend come to me, I just want to give them so much advice, and I just want to jack your ear off. But at the end of the day, sometimes it's not about providing advice. Sometimes it's just about listening.
Is just as important.
Listening. Yeah. Sometimes
even if
you
that's
just
all
need to
you
listen
need
to
do,
people.
That's okay. It can help.
Yeah.
Never be afraid to do that. Obviously, there can be boundaries put in place if that's all you're doing is constantly complaining. Like even with social media, I have tried to stop complaining on social media.
Yes.
Not to an inhuman level, but at least I was doing it all the time. I had a vent account. Vent accounts were all the thing back in the day. Were the big thing. And I would put every little thing that was bugging me onto that vent account. And then one day I looked at it, the timeline, and I'm just like, this doesn't reflect me. Because my happiness isn't here. All the other mundane things aren't here. It's just a feed of negativity. And you have to be aware of what that's doing to the wider world. People are seeing that. People are worrying or feeding into it or joining in on these arguments.
You will manifest the feelings you project out into the world. We all have that one friend who's like, haha, I'm a jerk. And maybe they weren't a jerk, but they started saying it. And next thing you know, they literally became a jerk. And now you don't want to be around them because they're literally a jerk. They self-manifested, they owned it, they brought it into their core being. And that's what happened. Here's another example. In my Discord server, I originally put up a gratitude journal section where you guys could go in and write all the wonderful things that have been happening to your life that can bring you comfort and joy. That channel does not get used nearly as much as I would like it to. But I put a vent channel in when I first started my Discord, and even when I only had a few hundred people in my Discord, that channel got it was bad. Like the amount of negativity.
Easy to hate. It's easy.
It's very easy to hate.
It is very much the path that's easier to go down, and you can just vent about anything and everything.
It's so easy to complain. It's so easy to hate.
That can be tough.
It can't be it's not so that it can be tough. It's just you're already just into, you're like, of course things should be good, and when you're good, you just like, oh, things are good, I don't need to think about it. We totally ignore the good stuff in our lives, and we hyperfixate on the negative because the negative disrupts that goodness that we feel should be our base state. Yeah, we take it for granted. So I got rid of my venting section, and now my gratitude section gets a lot more love. And I think it's important to express negativity and to not bottle things up, but in a journal can be helpful, But realistically, a good friend who can listen, your family who loves you, or better yet, a therapist is the right place to vent, where your emotions and your feelings can be,
and you don't have to
extracted
be
essentially.
You don't have to be going through trauma to need therapy. You know, people think that you have to be at the bottom of the barrel. You don't, because therapy was completely different how I thought it was going to be. It's just a nice, friendly hug of a verbal conversation and reframing the way you are, rather than them telling you you have to do this. And
it's exactly what it is. The mental health is not something you should only reach for when you're feeling at your lowest. It's not a crutch. It is a way of life. If you meditate, keep it up. If you practice basic breathing techniques, like, you know, just a little.
I don't do either of those.
You don't have to.
Have you been meditating?
Point is, you know, I have. I meditated this morning. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're back on the path. Heartwood used to be my teacher, telling me to meditate more, because I was going through a really rough time, and I was like, I'm sorry, Heartwood, I haven't been meditating.
But you know what? At the end of the day, you made it through that rough time, and you've grown so much since then. And if it wasn't for your own inner strength and your self-care, I don't think, you know,
my friends, because I went through like the roughest point in my life in, was it 2021 or 2020?
Yeah, it was 20.
I can't remember.
It was 2021. I think it was 2020 into 2021.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Somewhere around
and
there.
that's around about the time that I was meeting Heartwood and the cutie crew. So these poor beans just had my full force of venting and just constant like end of the world mentality. But throughout it all, we were just doing silly little things as the cutie crew, running around all these little maps, chasing Iwolf through horror maps.
There was so much shenanigans.
Them, playing games, live streams, and it's like, that's what I want to remember from it. And what I really cherish, because even though it was the darkest of darks, like I'm talking like PTSD and proper trauma and me thinking this is it, this is like the end of it, there was that little shining light of like the hour I had on that crappy laptop, desktop VR chat, or getting to speak to you guys and listening to your lives. The normality of your lives and what you're doing, and oh, you know, you cleaned up after your cat, or you made a nice meal. I'm just like, that reminded me that I will get through this. And like Heartwood said, it's not going to be forever, and it's just a distant memory now. And that's the craziest thing to me, like how incredibly like full of despair I was, and now I'm past it. Now it's just gone, and life changes for better and for worse, and that's the for better part, is that you'll get through the rough times.
If you always reach for progress, and you give yourself the love and care you need, and you remind yourself and have mindful moments that reality is what you make of it, and whatever you're dealing with, it will be temporary for the most part, with few exceptions. You will always have better days. You will smile, you will feel joy, you will feel a day with no anxiety, no stress. Whether it's, as long as you keep chiseling away, little baby steps, that's all. Go forth with grace and dignity, and you will find that you have a much more enriching, happy life. And that enriching, happy life will also continue to attract more positivity, more good karma, and more graces to you. And you'll be really surprised how life turns out. So give yourself lots of space and time and credit.
Like you were talking about earlier, it's a huge coping mechanism for me. I got out of bed, I made my bed, you know, I went clothes shopping.
Let's go.
I did grocery shopping. I you know, threw clothes into
Sounds
the washing machine.
mundane,
I did
but
my laundry.
Makes you feel good.
You level up. I don't know how
you
to
level
put
up.
It. It's just like,
level up.
These things are hard. Being an adult is hard. Being mundane, doing your taxes,
oh dear God,
like getting your MOT, your car sorted. But if you can do like even one of those things, celebrate that. Find something every day, even if it's mundane, to celebrate and cherish.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, hell yeah, be your own personal champion, even if like, nobody else is like congratulating you for doing laundry. But you've got to congratulate yourself.
You really do. And remember,
Yeah.
like, no matter, like, a lot of times you'll get to that point where you feel like you just can't. You just can't. And it's okay to feel that way. But just change your perspective. Try something different, something that brings you out of the box. And I've talked about it before. When you start feeling some type of way, when the bad brain hits, when you're upset or angry at what somebody else has done or how you've been wronged or whatever the circumstances, notate. Break that thought pattern, break that cycle. And even if you fall right back into it, break it again. Oh, you fell back into it, break it again. So I always say notate, thinking, feeling, and just if you can find little ways to disrupt, if you can focus on the gratitude and you can continue to build upon little successes, little victories, you're going to find yourself in a much better situation. And you're going to live a really good, enriching life.
Progress isn't a graph like this. It's a very bumpy road. You might go way down further than when you began, but you're still on the path.
It's the stock market.
You're still on the path.
Stock market. It's the stock market. You might be riding high. Yeah, well, I'm like thinking, like, the only thing I can think of where you continuously go up if you try is invest in yourself, invest in your mental health, and you will find that even when things dip down and you're in the negative, you're in the red, you will come back and you'll be stronger and better than before as long as you continue to invest in yourself. Simple.
Also, invest into Heartwood's new crypto coin that we're bringing out. We're launching a new...
Oh, hell no. Oh, no, girl, no. No, if you find a Heartwood crypto coin, you tell me.
Limited edition Heartwood NFTs. No.
Bap you. How dare.
Heartwood wants to smash me off this rock. So thank you for joining us for Slice of Therapy, episode 1.
Slice of Therapy. Yes, thank you so much, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Help. No, yeah, it has.
But at the end of
nice.
It has been. Guys, go get therapy if you feel like you need it. Even if you're feeling wonderful, go have a therapeutic moment once every couple of months or once a month. It's wonderful. Talk to your friends. Spend time with your dogs and your.
Tell yourself you love you. Yes.
Love yourself. And we will see you guys in 2 weeks, I think.
Thank you. Patreon, Coffee, Tier 3. Thank you ever so
Tier
much.
3, Twitch. Thank you guys for all your love and support. We couldn't do this without you, and it really, really means a lot to us. So thank you for taking care of this lovely little bunny and this squishy little angel. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. See you next time. Bye.
Mwah. Bye.
Mwah. Huzzah.
Huzzah!